Practice test number 4, section 3, 25 minutes for 20 questions, no calculator, and here is the formula given on the front of each section. Number 1, which of the following expression is equal to 0 for some values of x? So where would these ever become 0? Remember, absolute value would never be negative. It has to be 0 or greater. So let's say x was 2, then 2 minus 1 will be 1. Minus 1 can be 0. Where here, 0 or any positive number plus 1 will never become 0, so it has to be a. In the function above, b is a constant. If f of 6 equals to 7, what is the value of f of negative 2? So we have to find the b. So here's x. Let's plug it in. It's 3 over 2 times 6 plus b equals to f of x is 7, which is your y. So let's go ahead and solve for b. So 7 equals to 3 times 3, 9 plus b. Subtract 9 from both sides. I get negative 2 equals to b. But remember, that's not the question. It's asking, what is your f value if your x is negative 2? So now you do 3 over 2, x is negative 2, and b is minus 2. So I get negative 3 minus 2, which is negative 5. 3. If x and y is a solution to the system of equation above, what is the value of y? So let's go ahead and solve for x by multiplying by y on both sides. And let's substitute 6y for x to the second equation. So 4 times y plus 4 equals to x, which is 6y. Then you can solve for y. So subtract 4y from both sides. I get x equals to 2y. When I divide by 2, y equals to 2. So go back and double check what you're looking for. You're looking for y, so you're done. A. If f of x equals to negative 2x plus 5, what is f of negative 3x equal to? So instead of x, I put negative 3x. So negative 2 times negative 3x is 6x plus 5. So it is b. Number 5. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above? So you can FOIL it, but before you do that, multiply by 3 for the first one. 6x plus 3. Now you multiply with 4x plus 1. So I get 24x squared. So I know it has to be either b or c. And it has to be c because it seems like I will have the middle terms, right? The x terms. So I know it's c, but let's double check. So 6 times 1 is 6x. 3 times 4x is positive 12x plus 3. So I get 18x in the middle. So it has to be 24x squared plus 18x plus 3. C. If a minus b over b is 3 over 7, which of the following must also be true? So this one, it would be nice if they gave you something like these two multiplied equals to the other two, like 3b equals to 7 times a minus b. And if you divide by 7, we get that, but we don't have any of those. So what we can do is guess and check. So one number minus b, or let's say b is 7. B is 7, then a must be 10, right? So then 10 minus 7 is 3, and 7 is 7. So let's see. So a is 10, b is 7, so then b must be true, always. While preparing to run a marathon, Amelia created a training schedule in which the distance of her longest run every week is increased by a constant amount. If Amelia's training schedule requires that her longest run in week 4, a distance of 8 miles, and her longest run in week 16 is distance of 26 miles. Which of the following best describe how the distance in million run changes between 4 weeks and week 4 and week 16? So from week 4 to 16, they're talking about each week or 3 weeks. So in that 12 weeks, right, from week 16 minus 4 will be 12. It changed from 26 to 8, which is 18. No, yes, 18. So 18 over 12 is, when you divide by 3, it gets 6 over 4, which you can still divide it by 3 and 2. Yes, 18 divided by 6 is 3. 12 divided by 6 is 12. So 3 miles, it increased 3 miles per each week. Or we can say 1.5 mile each week. Increase the distance or longest run by 1.5 each week. Or you can say 2 miles every 3 weeks. No, 3 miles in 2 weeks. We don't have that, so it has to be D. 8. Which of the following equation represents a line that is parallel to the line with equation y equals to negative 3x plus 4? Parallel means what? They have a same slope. So here we have a slope of negative 3, so we're looking for a slope of negative 3. So you're solving for y. So here, let's start from this one. So negative y, 3x minus y equals to 7. So when I move y to the other side, it becomes 3x minus 7 equals to y, so it's positive 3. So no. What about the second one? It will become 2/3 because we have to divide by 3 and move it to the other side, so no. What about this one? So 3y equals to negative x plus 1. So that's negative 1/3. So no. So it has to be A. Let's see. 6x plus 2y equals to 15. Move 6y to the other side by subtracting. Then you divide by 2 to 2. You get negative 3. So you have A as your answer. What if it says perpendicular to negative 3? Then it has to be flipped and opposite sign. So when you multiply these two, slope it should equal to 1 if they are perpendicular. 9. If A is 2, what is the solution set of the equation above? So square root of x minus 2 equals to x minus 4. So here they're on your fuse, so I'll plug it in. So 3 minus 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 3 minus 4 is not equal to 1. So 3 cannot be true. So it has to be B or D. So plug in 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, which is not equal to 2 minus 4, which is negative 2. So it has to be D, but let's double check. 6 minus 2 is 4, so square root of 4 is 2, and 6 minus 4 is 2. True. D. 10. If t plus 5 divided by t minus 5 equals to 10, what is the value of t? Cross multiply. So t plus 5 equals to 10, t minus 5. So t plus 5 equals to 10t when you distribute it, minus 50. So minus t, add 50, add 50, 55 equals to 90. Divide by 9, divide by 9. Is it D? Yes, it has to be 55 over 9. 11. How many ordered pair of x, y satisfy the system of equations shown above? So if they're exactly the same, it becomes exactly the same equation, then there are infinitely many solutions. If it doesn't become true, then there's none, and either it's 1, infinity, or 0. So let's see. So let's go ahead and substitute what we have for x, but I think it would be easier to substitute what we have for y, right? Because here, if you substitute 2y plus y here, you have to double it and FOIL it. So let me just go ahead and solve for y. So let me move 5 from both sides. So I get x minus 5 equals to 2y divided by 2. So that is my y, right? So my y is x minus 5 over 2 equals to that, which is 2x squared plus 18x minus 3 minus 27. So I get x minus 5 over 2 equals to 2x squared plus 18x minus 30. So let's go ahead and multiply by 2 on both sides. So I get x minus 5 equals to 2x squared. Then you get 4x squared plus 36x minus 60. And you can move it. You can move the x, so 0 equals to 4x squared plus, you move x, move y by adding. You get 35x minus 65. So we're looking for when it becomes 0, so it becomes a quadratic. So it's a parabola. Y-intercept when x is 0, right? 0, 0. It's at negative 65. And it's positive, meaning it opens up. So how many solutions do you have? C. 2 solutions. Yeah. Ken and Paul each ordered a sandwich at the restaurant. The price of Ken's sandwich was X dollars. So Ken's sandwich was X dollars. And the price of the Paul sandwich was $1 more than the price of Ken's. So that's X plus 1, right? If Ken and Paul split the cost of the sandwich evenly and each paid 20% tip, which of the following expression represents the amount in dollars which of them paid? So who was the first? So Paul or Ken's sandwich was X, and Paul's sandwich was $1 more than Ken's, so it's X plus 1. And they pay, that's a total amount they need to pay, but there are 20% tip, no taxes. So this is like the price of the sandwich, but now you have to pay 20%. So you will multiply by itself and 2, right? 1.2, because you have to pay the 100% of the sandwich, price of the sandwich, and 20% of the tip. So this is 1, and this is 0.2, so you will add it. So now, what's the question? So the question is, which of the following expression represents the amount in dollars each of them pay? So they need to split into 2. So you get 2x plus 1 times 1.2 over 2, which is 2.4x plus 1.2 divided by 2. So it is 1.2x plus 0.6. Each of them. So it is C. 13. The function f and g defined by f of x is 8x squared minus 2, and this is negative 8x squared, because if it's positive, it opens up, and this one opens down, and they also named it for you. So what's the question? The graph of f and g intersect at the point k comma 0 and negative comma 0. K comma 0 and negative k comma 0. What is the value of k? So you have to just think about when this becomes 0, right? So 8x squared minus 2 equals to 0, so add 2. So that equals to 2, so divide by 8, divide by 8. So you get x squared equals to 1 over 4. So when you square root it, you get x equals to plus or minus 1/2. So either one, right? So it has to be B, 1/2. 14, if the expression above is rewritten in the form of a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers, what is the value of a? So in order to write the imaginary number fraction in that way, you have to rationalize it, meaning you have to multiply the top and bottom by the denominator's conjugate, which will be the middle sign switching to the opposite. So 3 minus 2i, that's 3 plus 2i, and we're just changing the form of it. So you have to, this is 1. So it doesn't change the value of it, but it just changes the format of it. So now you FOIL it. So the bottom, the reason why we do this is to get rid of I and y. How can we get rid of this I? This becomes a minus b times a plus b, which becomes a squared minus b squared. So you get a, 3, squared 9, and it's negative 2i and plus 2i. So you get 2i, it's minus 2i squared. So it becomes 4i squared. And what is I squared? It's square root of 1, negative 1, times square root of negative 1, which is negative 1. It's an imaginary number. So it's 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. So it's minus negative 4. And the top, you have to FOIL it. You get 24 plus 16i, negative 3i, minus 2i squared. So the bottom, I get 9 minus negative 4 is 13. Top, I get 24 plus 16i minus 3i is 13i. And negative 2i squared is negative 2 times I squared, remember, it is negative 1. So I get 2, so I'm adding 2. So I get 26 plus 13i over 13. So 26 divided by 13 is 2. And 13i divided by 13 is I. So what's the question? What is the coefficient of I? That is 1, which we don't have here. Oh, wait. It's asking for, now B, it's for asking for A, so we have it here too. Okay, so it is 2A. 15. In the quadratic equation above, K and P are constant. What are the solution for X? So we're just plugging to the quadratic formula. So when you change this, it's x squared minus k over 2x minus 2p equals to 0. So this is your A, this is your B, but it's minus, negative, and this is your C. So what's the quadratic formula? It's x equals to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, right? So negative b will be negative k over 2 of negative will be just k over 2 plus or minus square root b squared is negative squared is positive, k squared over 4 minus 4 times a, 1, c, negative 2. So it's minus 8, so minus negative 8 is plus 8. Divide by 2a, 2 times 1 is 2. So what do I get? I get k over 4. You have to divide by 2. Plus or minus square root of that is Square root of that will be k over 2, but you have plus 8. So let's see what we have here. So they have k over 4 must be the answer. So it is one of these two. So it's k squared. Yeah, so when you do take out 4, it is square root of k squared plus 2. No. Take out 4. It's 32 over 4. So you can take out square root of 4 as 2 to make this 4. Right, when we take this out. So it's k squared plus 32 over 4. All right, Jim has a triangular shelf system that attached to his shower head. The total height of the system is 18. So total is 18. And there are 3 parallel shelves as shown. So that means they're all, right, this and those, the heights are proportional. What is the maximum height in inches of the shampoo bottle that can stand upright on the middle shelf? So they're proportional. So as you can see, this thing adds up to, the whole thing adds up to 6x, 2x plus 3x over x. This is half of it, right? So 3x over the whole thing, 6x must equal to whatever we're looking for. Let's just call it y over 18. The whole thing is 18. So as you can see, it's half. So y over 18 must be half. So y must be 9. Okay. (17) In triangle above, the sine of x theta, x degree is 0.6. What is the cosine of y? So here you have to remember, if you have a right triangle, sine of this angle, sine of that value equals to cosine of the other angle. So they are equal 0.6. Okay? Sine of x equals to cosine of, if this is x, this will be what? 90 minus x, 90 minus x, which is the other non-right angle. Not this one, the other one. There are so many questions like that, so please put a star on that question and make sure we remember that property. If it was quadratic, it will be easier, but here, probably there must be a way to do it. So let me just go ahead and factor these by grouping. So I can take out x, so x squared, or I can take out x squared, then it's x minus 5 plus 2x minus 10. Oh, I already see the pattern. It's x minus 5 equals to 0. So then I can take out x minus 5, which they have in common. So then I'm left with x squared n plus 2 equals to 0. So my x can be 5. Your x can be also square root of negative square root of 2, or square root of 2, square it. No, that won't give you an answer, so it has to be from this, because x squared equals, looks like this, right? So it will never become 0. Square plus 2 will never become 0, so x is 5 from this first factor. So negative 3x plus 4y equals to 20. And if xy is the solution to the system of equation above, what is the value of x? So here you'll solve it. If I were you, since I have 3 and 6, double the top, the whole thing by linearization, and I'll eliminate the x's. So I get negative 6x plus 8y equals to 40. So then it's 6x minus 6x becoming 0, so I'll just add it. So it becomes 0. I get 11y equals to 55. So when I divide by 11, y equals to 5. But remember, it's asking for x. So you'll plug into one of the equations. I'll plug into the first one, where I'll do to the second one, which don't have negative. So it is 6x plus 3 times 15. 3 times 5 is 15, equals to 15. So 6x equals to 0, so x is 0. Okay. The mesosphere is a layer of Earth atmosphere between 50 kilometers and 85 kilometers above Earth's surface. At a distance of 50 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature in the mesosphere is -5 Celsius. Yeah, don't spend too much time reading the word that you don't know. At a distance of 80, the temperature was -80. For every additional 10 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature in the atmosphere decreased by K. What is K? So from -5 to -80, it decreased by 75. And that was 50 to 80, so 30 kilometers decreasing. But what the question is asking for, what is K? Which is the rate of every 10 kilometers, how much is it decreasing? So divide by 3 to get 10. Then you divide by 3. So you get 25, right? 3 times 25 is 75. So it is 25, the answer.